Brad, thank you. SAP Center in San Jose on a cool, blustery day in Northern California. Canucks will try to warm up from what they put up in Anaheim the other night. Starting goalies brought to you by Jim Hortons, official coffee of the NHL. You heard Neil Smith talking about Ryan Miller's performance last time in this building. He was brilliant, stole the Canucks a 3-2 win, and is now 8-1 in his career against the Sharks. A rare start for Alex Stalock, his first since December the 11th. Sharks play tomorrow in Anaheim. Antti Niemi expected to get the start there. Patrick Marleau comes into this game pointless in 6. That came on the heels of a 6-game point streak in which he put up a goal and 8 assists. Henrik Sedin hasn't scored since November 28th. He's still 1 goal away from 200 in his career. It's Henrik against Logan Couture to start this game. Sedin's and Vrbata together. Couture between Marleau and Tommy Wingels, and we're underway with Marc-Edouard Vlasic dumping the puck ahead, blocked by Alex Edler, who's paired on defense with Chris Tanev. Puck slides into the Vancouver zone. That'll be an early icing call just 12 seconds in.
Willie Desjardins felt that the big line for the Canucks didn't really get into the game in Anaheim. A lot of it had to do with the only 5 seconds of power play that the Canucks had in that whole game, and we all know how the Sedins love to play on the power play and usually stay out for a minute and a half of the 2 minutes.
Face-off win for Henrik Sedin. Pass in deep for Daniel. Now Vrbata centers. That's broken up, and Wingels brings the puck ahead. Pass for Marleau. Shoots one in wide of the Vancouver goal. Delayed offside here. So the Sharks will peel back as Tanev starts out with the puck. Chris Tanev gains center, backhands it in behind the San Jose goal. Stalock out of his net, had a little trouble. Able to get the puck around, held in, wristed towards the goal by Edler as he now heads to the bench. Onto the ice is Kevin Bieksa. Runs into Couture in the corner. And Vlasic winds up with the puck for the Sharks.
Stalock is a much better puck-handling goalie than Antti Niemi, so you have to be careful when you throw it in. He'll come out and play it up to his wingers.
Nick Bonino onto the ice with Chris Higgins as the Sharks break in. Joe Thornton with a wrist shot blocked by Ryan Stanton. Yannick Hansen out there with Bonino and Higgins. Lyndon Vey was in that spot in warm-up. But Hansen out to start on this line at least. Brent Burns knocked that puck out of the air with a high stick, and so the whistle blows.
Well, Todd McLellan has decided to use Alex Stalock in this game. And John, you talked about Stalock not playing since December 11th, but he played 3 in a row during that stretch. And they do play in Anaheim tomorrow night. And Scott Hannon is also not dressed, so I would assume he's in for that game tomorrow night. They felt they should have beat Anaheim last week when they lost in overtime in Anaheim.
Ryan Kessler, the winner in that one. McLellan said it in the exhibition season. The goaltending was wide open for the #1 job, but Niemi seems to have snared it, having played the bulk of the games this season. Here's Lyndon Vey onto the puck. Pass to Sean Mathias, who's checked by Burns. Vey collects the puck again. In deep for Mathias. Richardson out there as well, takes the pass. Brad Richardson tried a sharp angle shot. That deflects towards the point. Edler had his shot attempt blocked, keeps after the puck for Vancouver, and sends it on to the end boards. 2 minutes into the first, no score. Not a shot on goal for either team yet either. Edler gets the puck in his own zone, quickly ahead for Mathias. Canucks changing. Sedin line back out. Sharks changing as well. Here's Justin Braun. Pass picked off by Daniel Sedin. He gave up the puck to Desjardins. And now it's onto the stick of Lucas Sbisa. Pressured by Patrick Marleau. Able to beat the heat, tip the puck near side. Then took a pretty healthy hit from Tommy Wingels, who leads the Sharks in hits. Wingels gets the puck at center. Braun brings it ahead. Dumps it in behind the Vancouver goal. Daniel Sedin tip pass to center. Wingels back to break that up. Sharks have lost their last 2 after winning 9 of their previous 10. And now they're offside of the Vancouver blue line.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Tommy Wingels, as we said, leads the Sharks in hits. He always comes in and takes the body. Here comes Wingels. Good solid shoulder-to-shoulder check on Lucas Sbisa. And I kind of question the numbers. Tommy Wingels at 137. That seems awfully high to me. It's like Cal Clutterbuck stat that he used to get in Minnesota with like 400 hits a year.
Now.
Yeah. You pay off the hit guy.
Here's Derek Dorsett out with Bo Horvat and Alex Burrows. Horvat gets the puck, puts it to the crease, loose, and they jam it in. Burrows and Dorsett were both there as the rookie Horvat put the puck in front. And on the first shot, the Canucks take a 1-0 lead.
I wonder if that's going to be Horvat's goal, because I think that hit Brendan Dillon's skate and maybe carried over the line. And Alex Burrows, we talked about Burrows being the net presence on the power play, going to the net. He goes to the net hard. I think that might be Horvat's goal. He throws it across. It hit Brendan Dillon's left skate and just carried into the net. Anybody touch it on the way by? I don't think so.
I'll go with you. You're like 98.9% correct.
I'm pretty good at those.
If you don't say yourself.
I am. And we are a long way away, as you know, here in San Jose.
You just keep patting yourself on the back.
I am.
We do know the Canucks have the lead, the 19th time they've opened the scoring, and it is Bo Horvat's second goal.
Time of the goal, 3-0.
And King Friday is correct again.
Yes.
51, Dorsett at 3-0.
Here's Hurdle with a centering pass. Puck deflects back. Matt Irwin in behind the goal. Pavelski missed the puck. Stanton pokes it ahead. Here's a shot by Tennyson that changed direction and just missed the net. Matt Tennyson very close to tying the game there. Down goes Thornton. Fans hollering for a penalty. Stalock actually started out of the net. He thought there was going to be a call, and now Miller makes a save on a sharp angle shot and hangs on. Bo Horvat has the opening goal in this hockey game, and we have a winner on Score and Win for Safeway and Folgers Coffee. Suzanne Moisin of Burnaby, you've won a Hoover Air cordless vacuum.
Horvat gets the goal, but the wingers should get a lot of credit just by going to the net hard. Dorsett and Burrows, and that brings the crowd, and it's off Brendan Dillon's skate and by Alex Stalock.
Scored his first against the Ducks. It's his second against the Sharks. And the Canucks are always looking for people to step up and produce against these California teams. Alex Edler slides the puck in from center. James Shepard back. Vey on him. Irwin gets the puck and tips it around for Barclay Goodrow. Goodrow flips the puck to center. Shepard to Melker Karlsson. That one slides through to Miller, and he'll take the whistle for a face-off in the Vancouver zone.
Canucks hockey. Brought to you by Subway. Gear up for winter with a prime rib melt combo. Your exclusive drink cup gives you a chance to win hot or cool prizes like a trip to the Bahamas or the Swiss Alps. Subway. Eat fresh.
We're still in the Christmas spirit here in San Jose.
That was right in front of our hotel.
I'm calling Uncle on the Christmas music. Oh, a bouncing puck. Miller had a little trouble with it, as it almost hopped over his left pad, it appeared, but he's able to cover and get the stoppage.
Well, Daniel Sedin, talking to Dan Murphy before the game, said the first 10 minutes here in San Jose are always hectic around the visitors' goal. They play so well at home. I think people forget that they played 16 of their first 21 games on the road. Everybody talked about San Jose and struggling, and Todd McLellan. That's a pretty tough schedule.
Caught fire this month, trailing 1-0 in this one. And the goal by Bo Horvat. And now the puck goes out of play in the seats behind the San Jose bench.
Sharks certainly came hard in the one and only meeting in this building between these two teams earlier this season. Was November the 6th when they threw everything at Ryan Miller. He made 34 saves in that game, was the first start as the Canucks came out on top by a score of 3-2.
Just hung on to that one.
8-1 against the Sharks is Miller. Derek Dorsett throws one ahead off the stick of Brent Burns, who collects the puck and banks it for Matt Nieto. Sharks turn it over. Dorsett along with Horvat trying to make something happen. Brendan Dillon trying to check Horvat, and they have a pretty good battle going in the corner to the left of Stalock. Horvat to the line, long shot. Stalock to save, loose puck, and he's able to poke it away with a goal stick. Lucas Spiza holds the puck in at the line. Horvat's lost his stick. He'll head to the bench, replaced by Henrik Sedin. Burns from behind his net, checked by Burrows. Here's Sedin. Henrik Sedin back to Yannick Weber. Spiza at the left point, wrist shot, and that's off the goaltender Stalock and over the glass for a whistle.
Canucks doing a good job going to the net, especially this line with Horvat, Burrows, and Dorsett. Nice job by Horvat along the boards, throws it back, and there's Dorsett, creating all sorts of problems for Alex Stalock, and Stalock still able to find it and make the save.
Shots are listed at 2-2 right now. Face-off win for Nick Bonino. Here's Bieksa putting one in front, and that's blocked by Tennyson. And Tomas Hertl picks up the loose puck. Round for Joe Pavelski, lets the puck go through to Joe Thornton. And he passes ahead to Hertl. Tomas Hertl throws it on the brakes. Pass back, Pavelski's shot blocked by Bonino, and here come the Canucks. Higgins with Hansen. Chris Higgins, wrist shot, stopped by Stalock, and he hangs on for the whistle. Just over 6 minutes into this hockey game, and the Canucks off to a good start, lead it 1-0.
Vote for the Budweiser Goal of the Year, and you could win a Budweiser Red Light and tickets to an upcoming Canucks game. 2 of the best Canucks goals go head-to-head every 2 weeks, with the winner moving on to take on another challenger. Head to Canucks.com/Bud Goal of the Year for more details.
The one in this game, probably not the candidate. The greasy goal of the year.
Bo Horvat's first one.
That was
a pretty goal.
Yeah. Here's Lyndon Vay after the puck off the face-off. Burns ahead for Carlson, who tips the puck down into Vancouver zone, and Weber will win the race on Goodrow to get the icing call. Numbers are all pretty similar. It's the results that have been different.
And it just shows you the margin of error. All those one-goal games that the teams play now.
Canucks looking to close the calendar year with another victory, trying to get to 21 before they embark on the 2015 portion of the schedule.
Goals for padded a little bit with that 7-1 win against Phoenix. Oh, you're going to call me on it. Arizona. I'm sorry.
I didn't say a word.
Starting the new year, I won't call them Phoenix. That'll be my resolution for 2015. I will not call them the Phoenix Coyotes.
Here's Justin Braun for the San Jose Sharks, wristing the puck into the Vancouver zone. Tanev tips it back for Edler. Being pressured by Marlowe. Able to work the puck to Henrik Sedin, who gives it to Daniel. But the Canucks turn it over. And here's Vlasic with a wrist shot. And that was blocked by Chris Tanev, who heads straight to the bench. Bieksa on to replace him. And the Canucks make a full change now. Sharks will start to make substitutions as well. Vlasic drives the puck in from center. Pushing it forward is Michael Haley. He's upended. Burrows gets the puck. Ahead to Horvat, quickly to Dorsett. Indirect pass for Horvat, a good one, who tried to center for Stanton. Now tries again. Both times the pass failed to get through. Stanton's been given an assist on the opening goal. It reads Horvat from Dorsett and Ryan Stanton, who now has the puck behind his own net. 8 minutes into the first, and Stanton skates slowly to center. Burrows takes his pass and slams the puck into the Sharks' end. Hertl can't find it in his skates. Bonino able to poke the puck to the corner. Irwin, the Brentwood Bay product, plays the puck to the near side, and onto it is Joe Thornton. Lead pass, Pavelski behind the defense. Check from behind. There might be a penalty shot here. And yes, there will be. Alex Edler took down Pavelski, and he'll go one-on-one on Ryan Miller.
Boy, what a pass by Joe Thornton. Obviously, the Sharks have done this before. Those two, Thornton just circles around behind his net, fires it hard right up the middle. Pavelski, wide receiver, knocks it down, and Edler reaches around from behind him, takes him down.
Joe Pavelski's 0 for 1 in penalty shots in his career. And Ryan Miller has stopped 15 of 17, including one earlier this season against Marty St. Louis. Fans, some of them to their feet, not as many as I would have expected, as Miller awaits the offering from Pavelski, and here he comes. Off the crossbar! Still 1-0 Canucks, and Miller has stared down 16 of 18 in his career.
And Joe Pavelski and Ryan Miller, obviously friends from the U.S. Olympic team. And you can see Pavelski look back at Miller after it goes off the crossbar, and Miller, a few words. Had some room. Ryan Miller taps the stick down.
See what impact that sequence might have on this hockey game as Stalock grabs that long shooting and hangs on for the whistle.
This period brought to you by the bold new 2015 Toyota Camry. One bold choice leads to another.
I don't know whether Pavelski changed his mind. Gives the head fake, then goes high over the shoulder of Ryan Miller, but it's off the crossbar and out of play.
Melker Karlsson for San Jose. Free agent signing back in May. Now Barclay Goodrow tips the puck in. Miller out to play it. Now he slides back into the crease as the Canucks come back to play the puck to the near side. And Mathias had a chance to get it out, but had it blocked by Brent Burns. Karlsson bumped in the corner by Spiza. Shepard has the puck back to Burns, and a calm glove save by Ryan Miller on that bullet of a shot from Burns.
A good pinch by Brent Burns to keep this play alive, and then he ends up with a good chance from the point, but no traffic in front. At least it didn't get there until after the shot had gone by. Back to Burns, the one-timer, and Ryan Miller reaches out and gets it as Karlsson got there late.
Justin Braun brings the puck to the corner, checked there by Edler. Here's a good stat for you, John.
Yes?
That was the third penalty shot. Is a shot by Wingles goes off the side of the net. Third penalty shot for the Sharks this season. The other two belonging to Tommy Wingles and Patrick Marleau. All of them have been stopped, and the trio of goaltenders who made the saves are Ryan Miller, Corey Schneider, and Roberto Luongo.
Oh, the connection.
6 degrees of Canuck
Yes,
netminders.
yes.
Canucks offside, and the whistle blows. We'll check in with Murph.
Would like to remind everyone to play Safeway's $1 million score and win. If any Vancouver player scores 5 goals in tonight's game, Kenneth Thwaites of Vancouver could win $1 million.
You are just a font of knowledge.
Thank you. Here's Kevin Bieksa for the Canucks. Pass to Alex Burrows. He tips the puck forward and moves in on Matt Tennyson. Dorsett blocks that one. Now battles with Matt Irwin for the puck. Somebody's sorry. Here comes Matt Nieto, who's back in the lineup after missing 9 games with an injury. Hit by Bieksa in the corner. Nieto gets the puck. Pass back to Tennyson. Bieksa intercepts that one. Has some time and space. Plays the puck up the boards. Dorsett pressured by Irving. And the puck stays in the Vancouver zone. Shots are 4-apiece. We're past the halfway mark of the first. Bo Horvat has the game's only goal. Irwin with the puck. Passes ahead for Pavelski. Edler takes it away. And here comes Chris Tanev off the Edler pass. Ahead for Hansen. That's broken up. Tanev intercepts again at center. And Edler takes his feet. It's funny, Tanev and Edler did a pretty good job the other night against Getzlaf. As Tanev tries to find a shooting lane, and you look up at the end of the night, they're both -2 as Getzlaf wins a face-off and an assist on the overtime. Thornton picks off a pass intended for Alex Edler, and here comes Brent Burns. Sidestep Hansen. But now Hansen takes a lead pass from Chris Higgins. Hansen slows, he shoots, and Stalock the save. Hangs on for the stoppage in play. We're 8.5 to go in the first. A goal for the Canucks and a penalty shot stop as well.
It's Bo Horvat who lost that draw to Ryan Getzlaf, leading to the tying goal in Anaheim. He said he won his first draw of the night against Getzlaf, and Getzlaf started working the officials, saying the rookie was cheating. He won his next one against Getzlaf, and he continued to work the officials. So here they made sure his stick was down early. Says as a rookie he can't talk back to the officials. It was something he said he would do in junior. And it's going to be a while before he builds up some equity with the linesmen, before he can talk back or correct them on where he should be.
Well, that's a veteran, Ryan Getzlaf, putting the rookie in his place.
Shot by Spiza, and that went off the knob of the goal stick of Alex Stalock and deflected over the glass.
But getting back to that, that's one of those where the rookie should just step out. He doesn't have to chirp the linesman or anything, just step back. And even if you get waved out, then Getzlaf has to put his stick down at least. That face-off that Bo lost clean, Getzlaf never even touched the ice. Just drew it right back.
Richardson trying to win this one with his feet. But the puck winds up on the stick of Goodrow. He gets to center and dumps it in. Spiza in a collision in the corner with Desjardins. Brent Burns throws one on goal, and that might have gone off Richardson. Miller able to make the save. Matthias after the puck at center, and he backhands it into San Jose territory. Matthias fighting for the puck. Dillon's on him. And in to pick it up is Radim Vrbata. Off the San Jose stick and over the glass for a face-off in the Shark zone.
Good for luck, warmth, and assuming a different identity. Want to get your What Happens Here Stays Here on? Book now at LasVegas.com.
That got my attention.
Yes, you're a big Vegas fan.
Henrik Sedin for this face-off against Logan Couture, who wins it back to Marc-Edouard Vlasic. Puck held into the line. That was Edler doing the work. Now the Sharks get it back, and Vlasic elects to turn back in his own zone. 7.5 to go in the first. Chris Tanev with the puck. Edler overskated it for a moment, now recovers to pass ahead to Henrik Sedin. Tanev plays the puck in behind the goal. Stalock bunts it to the side to Vlasic. Now up the near side, Wingels trying to move the puck out, blocked by Edler. Now chipped to center, and Edler comes back to collect it again. Daniel Sedin after that lead pass, and the puck bounces over his stick. Horvat back onto the ice. Here's Nieto making a nice move and a pass ahead to Desjardins. We got to keep that clear tonight. We got a coach named Desjardins and a player named Desjardins.
Your pronunciation, your linguistic skills will come through.
Penalty coming up here to Vancouver. Delayed call, Stalock to the bench, and as Burrows touches the puck, the whistle blows for a high stick. Looks like Bieksa is going to be, is it Bieksa heading to the box, I think?
Yes.
Vancouver penalty number 3, minor penalty for high sticking.
Kevin Bieksa just gets it up. Touch the puck.
Number 3, Kevin Bieksa.
So we talked about the Sharks' power play earlier.
13-31.
Has goals in 22 of the 36 games played. Checks in second in the NHL at 24.5%. And this is a pretty good battle, given the Canucks have killed off 30 of 32 in December. And they're ranked 4th in the NHL at just under 87%. Canucks killed off all 4 in Anaheim. And they forced the Sharks to start from their own zone. Marleau lost control as he moved in on Tanev, and did that puck go straight out?
No, it's off the glass. It's off the San Jose stick.
Just a whistle. No penalty, and a face-off outside the Vancouver blue line.
Chris Higgins and Brad Richardson do a nice job in their section of this penalty kill. Chris Tanev shoots it out, and it's off Patrick Marleau's stick.
Edler now sends the puck all the way down. Stalock will settle it behind the goal for Brent Burns. Pavelski tied with Nick Foligno for the most power play goals this season in the NHL. Has 9. He's on the ice and chasing after the other number 8, Chris Tanev, who's able to play the puck ahead to Bonino, and he tips it down. Stalock with a quick up to Burns and a touch pass to Thornton. Joe Thornton. Pass to Marleau. Cutting towards the goal. He shoots. And nothing there as Miller had the short side cover. Now slashing.
And that's going to be a penalty.
Slashing penalty to Thornton as he chopped the stick of Higgins in half, and that does it for the Sharks' man advantage.
Now, it was Joe Thornton saying, okay, that's a bad stick? Is that the argument? And all of a sudden you're going to have a 2-man advantage when you chop the guy's stick, and I'm sure Thornton's saying, okay, it wasn't that bad a chop, but still, it's right on the shaft of the stick, cuts it right in half, and Joe Thornton gets the slashing.
So 4-on-4 for a minute 6. Sharks managed the one Marleau shot on that abbreviated power play. Mathias with a face-off win, and Dorsett has the puck. Working on Dillon. Dorsett round the net. Pass in front, and the Sharks tap that one away. Now, no penalty there as Shepard was taken down. Always a great atmosphere here in San Jose. Fans are in a bit of a squirrely mood as Shepard moves in with a backhander stopped by Miller. Lucas Spiza has his pass blocked by Nieto, and Brendan Dillon collects the puck. The Surrey native tries to pass to Brent Burns. That didn't work. And Ryan Stanton starts from behind his own net. Ahead for Daniel Sedin, who leaves for Henrik Sedin. Henrik's got Stanton in front. He's in on goal. Stopped by Stalock. Ryan Stanton gunning for his second career NHL goal, but couldn't finish it off on the pass in front from Henrik Sedin. He'll have to try again another time. Ryan Stanton 80 without a goal.
They're on the power play in 18 seconds, so Willie Desjardins after the TV timeout has Henrik and Daniel on, and they obviously will continue on. Last game in Anaheim, the Canucks had 5 seconds of power play the entire game.
And they're not going to get one here as Henrik Sedin just took down Braun. And so it's going to be 4-on-3 for 14 seconds.
And this is just a penalty where Henrik is not thinking. He's got the stick down right in the skates. Doesn't let it go at all. Takes a tripping penalty.
Number 33, Henrik Sedin. 2 minutes for tripping. Time of the penalty, 15-18.
Lots of open ice for the next 14 seconds. 4-on-3 power play for the Sharks. Couture tried to go forward with that one. Now the puck comes to the side. Richardson gone to the line, held in by Burns. Here's a chance for Marleau, and a save by Miller moving to his left. Canucks clear. Here comes BX out of the box. And it's back to 4-on-4 for just under a minute. Marleau chases after that dumping. Pavelski missed the puck. Richardson back to pick it up. Ahead to Bieksa. Through center with Bonino and Richardson. Richardson on the left side. In front for Bieksa, tipped it wide. Bonino up with the puck in the corner. Vlasic on him. And the puck squirts free to Marleau, who gets it ahead to Pavelski. Back for Marleau. Checked by Stanton. And here comes Jannik Hansen. His pass block. Puck comes right back to him. Under 4 minutes to go in the first. Canucks leading 1-0. Bieksa throws one forward. Here comes Thornton out of the box. And the Sharks are back onto the power play for the next 50 seconds. Long shot by Nieto is juggled and held onto by Ryan Miller. The 9th shot of the game for the Sharks.
We talked about Joe Pavelski before the game, and Todd McClellan was saying he thinks he's the most natural goal scorer that this San Jose team has. And you can see power play goals since 2012-2013. The Sharks score a lot of goals, as do Washington, but Pavelski, he's not a very big guy. You look at Ovechkin and Simmons, those other guys are the shooters, and Pavelski's kind of in between. He goes to the net and he gets that 10-foot wrist shot.
He's Little Joe, and he's onto the puck out there with Big Joe. Couture with a slap shot, and Miller through the screen of Patrick Marleau, able to track that one and hang on.
That's a good save and good control by Ryan Miller. As this shot comes through, amazing players. Patrick Marleau is right in front, and Ryan Miller off the chest, no rebound at all. Patrick Marleau tried to tip it.
Miller picking up where he left off last time in this game. The only reason the Canucks got out of San Jose with 2 points. Here's Couture dropping for Pavelski. Leaves for Thornton. Joe Thornton leaves in the corner for Marleau. Back down for Thornton. Checked by Edler. Then Marleau gets the puck again. 12 seconds to go in the San Jose power play. Burns wants the pass, but Thornton hit the back of the net with it. Now a centering feed intercepted by Tanev, who clears the puck down the ice. Canucks back to full strength as Henrik Sedin steps out of the box. Sharks are 0 for 2 on the power play. 3 shots with the man advantage on Miller. Goodrow can't clear past Radim Vrbata. Vlasic winds up with the puck. With under 2.5 to go in the first. Shepard, one hand on the stick, tips the puck in deep. Carlson, bodied by Spiza. And the puck comes free to Shepard. To the blue line, Vlasic tried a wrist shot, and that's off a Canuck stick and wide. Melker Karlsson in for Barclay Goodrow. His pass gets through to Braun. Wrist shot, change direction. Miller with a late reaction, able to make the save. Sedin line pinned in the Vancouver zone by the trio Shepard, Karlsson, and Goodrow. And now both teams will make changes. Higgins
That's not
bumped away from the puck. No call. Irwin in. Matt Irwin carries in behind the goal. Nieto takes his pass to the line. Tennyson with a drive, blocked by Bonino. Nick Bonino banks the puck around for Yannick Weber. Gives it away. Bonino there to help out and then put the puck into his own bench. So there'll be a face-off in the Vancouver zone. Scotiabank Wednesday night hockey. Tomorrow the Leafs and the Bruins. Coverage at 3:30 Pacific on Sportsnet East, Ontario, West, and Pacific. And that's followed by the Oilers and the Flames, Battle of Alberta. That's 6:30 Pacific, right across the country.
Bruins scored some goals last night, and the Leafs having problems keeping goals out of their own net. Blown a couple of leads in their last 2 games.
False start on the face-off of the Vancouver zone. 1:15 to go in the first period. Horvat against Pavelski, who wins it cleanly. Thornton tried to chip one in front for Hertl. That was blocked. Dorset winds up with the puck and passes to Alex Burrows. Burrows to the San Jose blue line. Centers, and Dorset got his stick on that one. With Stalock flailing about in the crease, and the puck goes out of play.
Well, Stalock, I talked about him being so active with his stick, and he's diving out to try and tip that pass. We've seen him throw a couple of long passes up on the power play. Alex Burrows is trying to throw this one across, and Stalock is diving out, and the stick is out. That just slides wide. Stalock is one of the smaller goalies in the league. I think he's under 6 feet tall, which is a real oddity in today's game.
Final minute of the first, Joe Thornton shoots the puck in from center. Miller slowed it. Edler with a move, trying to get away from Pavelski in the corner. Pass to Richardson, quickly to Tanev. Chris Tanev gains the red and chips the puck in. Dillon gives it away to Vey. Lyndon Vey turning on Hertl. Along the end boards to Matthias. Blue line feed. Here's Bieksa with a slap shot. And that hit a body at the side. Hertl clears ahead. And Henrik Sedin passes back to Alex Edler. 20 seconds remaining in the first. Daniel Sedin Pass across. Here's Henrik. He's got Vrbata and Bieksa in front. Try to put it on goal. Blocked by Vlasic. And now the puck is cleared to center ice. One last entry for Vancouver. Daniel Sedin. Round for Henrik. And they're going to run out of time here. Horn sounds. Successful first for the Canucks. Ryan Miller faced 11 shots, including a penalty shot, stopping Joe Pavelski and Bo Horvat with a ricochet job for the only goal of the period. So 20 minutes done, Brad, and so far so good for the visiting team. The Canucks lead at 1-0.
Welcome back to San Jose. Canucks lead 1-0 on Horvat's second of the season. And join the NHL All-Star Fan Vote presented by SiriusXM. Visit NHL.com/vote to send your favorite Canuck to the Honda NHL All-Star Game. Plus, every ballot you cast is another chance for you to win a trip to the All-Star Weekend in Columbus. Go to NHL.com/vote.
Well, an eventful first period. Joe Pavelski had a penalty shot stopped by Ryan Miller. It takes us right into John Garrett's Fresh Take, brought to you by Subway. Gear up for winter with the Prime Rib Melt Combo. Thick, savory cuts of juicy Canadian beef. Subway, eat fresh.
Well, we get to talk about both parts of it. Here's Pavelski knocking it down. Neil Smith didn't like this call, but Alex Edler reached around with the right hand. The referee's behind him, so he calls a penalty shot. Ryan Miller stays with him, and that's a Fresh Take because you have to be patient as a goaltender. Pavelski gave him a little head fake. Miller stayed with him, and then Pavelski rattles it off the crossbar.
Well, he's the NHL's all-time leader in shootout wins and has now stopped 16 of 18 penalty shots in his career. Joe Pavelski, 0 for 2.
You could see Pavelski when he got out by center ice looking back over his shoulder at Ryan Miller.
On Vancouver's goal, having assists to number 18, Ryan Stanton.
Underway, second period. And the Sharks have the puck in their own zone. Vlasic with an errant pass. Stalock will stop the puck for Justin Braun. He throws one up the middle, past everybody, right through to Miller. And Chris Tanev goes back for the puck. Can't get it by Couture. Henrik Sedin fighting for the puck, passes to Edler. And he throws one forward for Daniel Sedin, off him and deep into the Sharks' end. Canucks make an early change, and Bonino comes onto the ice, along with Higgins and Jannik Hansen. Hansen to Bonino. Back for Jannik Hansen. Slap shot, ripped it wide, and the puck ricochets to center. Marleau to Couture. Here's Tommy Wingels. Wingels waits, passes to the side. Couture wraparound attempt. Wingels is hurt. There's a penalty on the play, and he's struggling to get to his feet. Hansen heading to the box, and nobody coming out to help Tommy Wingels.
A check to the head.
Ooh.
Tommy Wingels looks like he's going to be all right, but
Canucks penalty.
could have been interference also as Hansen came back and the puck was nowhere around.
Check to the head.
Wingels will likely go right to the dressing room, and he does.
Look at Jannik Hansen after Wingels just lobs that puck through.
It's a penalty for now. And anytime the NHL sees that call made on the score sheet, they'll likely have a look at it. Here's Logan Couture. Pavelski couldn't negotiate that pass. Good hustle by Marleau to hold the puck into the blue line. Now Edler, as the pass back hit him, deflect right to Brad Richardson. Chips the puck into the San Jose zone. Third power play of the game for the Sharks. And Burns brings the puck out. Drops it center to no one in particular, but Thornton there to take the pass and find Pavelski. Back for Burns. Near side, Couture takes the puck on the counter and rings it around for Joe Thornton. Pass for Pavelski, blocked by Bieksa. Now thrown in front. Couture couldn't get a good shot away. Marleau comes in after the puck, but Bieksa is able to wrist it down into the San Jose zone.
Stalock comes out to play it. You can hear the defense hollering Brent Burns, telling him to leave it.
Tennyson to Nieto. Henrik Sedin couldn't get the puck out. And here's Hertl with a wrist shot. Stopped by Miller and no rebound for Matt Tennyson.
When you're the backup goalie and you're a good puck handler like Alex Stalock is, you still have to listen to your defenseman. And here's Brent Burns coming back. Stalock knows he can play it. And you can hear Burns there. Good communication because he knows that his goaltender wants to throw it up, but he wants to do it himself on the power play.
42 seconds to go in the minor penalty to Jannik Hansen. Face-off win for Richardson. Puck cleared around, held in. Here's Hurdle. Back for Tennyson, one-timer. Kind of had to reach for it, and he wound up chopping the puck over top of the net. 25 seconds to go in the power play for the Sharks. Higgins is after the puck in the San Jose zone. Vlasic from behind the goal. Makes the play to Shepard, and here he comes to center. James Shepard over the Vancouver line. Down the left side. Trying to go around behind the net. Tanev stayed right with him. Nieto gets the puck to the blue line. Here's Vlasic at the left point. Vlasic centers, and that went off the stick of Shepard and right past Nieto. Hansen's out of the box, and he wants the lead pass. There it is, breakaway. Jannik Hansen in, scores! Top shelf, past Stalock, and Jannik Hansen makes it 2-0.
Todd McClellan is shaking his head. Everybody in the building knew that Jannik Hansen's coming out of the penalty box. Stalock had banged his stick. And yet the San Jose Sharks on the ice didn't react at all. Here's Brad Richardson slowly to the bench after killing the penalty.
Edler with a beauty of a pass.
And Jannik Hansen with a quick wrist shot. Short goalies. Where do you go short goalies? High, and there's Brad Richardson. Ooh, knee on knee. Ouch.
He stays at the bench.
That was James Shepard colliding with Brad Richardson.
Hansen has his 9th. And the Canucks into a 2-0 lead. Now Bieksa with a turnover right in the slot. Marleau trying to take advantage. Here's Couture under the puck. Logan Couture around the net. Brings it to the front. Tipped away to Daniel Sedin. Ahead for Bieksa. Puck winds up in the corner. Verbata after it there. Leaves for Henrik Sedin. Around for Daniel Sedin. Here's Henrik Sedin in the corner. Vlasic trying to check in. Verbata takes the pass. Blue line feed. Stanton with a wrist shot. That whistled wide of the goal. Canucks keep possession of the puck. Verbata slams one wide intentionally. Braun winds up with the puck. And now Couture just ices it. So the face-off will come back into the San Jose zone. 4 minutes into the second period. Jannik Hansen with the 2-0 goal. Another winner on Score and Win for Safeway and Folgers Coffee. From Dawson Creek, Roland Giroux. You've won a Garmin Verb Elite HD action camera.
That was that good quick wrist shot by Jannik Hansen. And Alex Stalock, as I said, he's a short goalie. He's standing up. He's trying to cover as much of the net, but you're in your crouch, and it's over his shoulder, and it's still got lots of room under the bar.
Derek Dorsett sends one in. That's out of play in the corner. And the face-off will be outside the Sharks' blue line.
I feel that short goalie's pain. Flashbacks to those high ones over my shoulder and in. I was listening to Marty Brodeur after his shutout last night. He was talking about how when he came into the league, he was a big goalie at 6'2", 6'3", and now the guys are standard is 6'4", 6'5", and even 6'7", 6'8", like Pecorini and Ben Bishop.
Here's Alex Burrows moving in with a backhander, kicked out by Stalock. Speeds at the blue line. Down for Horvat. Couldn't take the pass. Here's a lead one. Thornton trying to get loose. Joe Thornton towards the goal, taken down. Might we have another one?
No.
Yep.
Yes. Oh, man. Neil Smith's not going to like this one.
This one was less from behind, I think.
Yes. This is a bad change. The Canucks get caught on a bad change. Yannick Weber is going off. And here comes Chris Tanev. He's coming on to replace Weber. And he takes the feed out. But I thought more from the side than the direct path.
Vancouver tripping penalty.
Well, Little Joe couldn't score. Can Big Joe? He's 1 for 1 in his career. Miller, as we chronicled earlier, stop Pavelski to make it 16 for 18. Here comes Thornton. Scores!
That's posted in. Ryan Miller looks up at the Jumbotron.
Miller wasn't sure. He heard the ping.
He heard the ping, but it came across and goes in. Here's Joe Thornton. Post.
That's a pretty good shot. And jolt of momentum for the Sharks.
That's it.
That's the first converted penalty shot by the Sharks since December 30th, 2009. 5 years to the day. And Thornton makes it 2-1.
San Jose goal scored by 19 Thornton at 4:36.
James Shepherd passes back in his own zone. Irwin. Ahead for Goodrow. He's bodied by Hansen. Tennyson winds up with the puck. Up the right wing. Deflected through by Melker Karlsson. Edler goes back. Ahead to Hansen. And rink wide at center. Here's Chris Higgins moving in. Canino going to the net. Higgins tried a shot, and that's off a Shark stick and over the glass.
Well, the Canucks, Yannick Weber, he takes a look. The puck's in deep. And look at Joe Thornton. He sees Weber go, and now he knows, okay, Chris Dannett's got a long way to come from the bench. And he can't catch him. He's at the side. He flips him down, and Joe Thornton goes in off the post and in. That's one of those, as you're the far side defenseman, you have to make sure that it's deep in the corner. You got time.
Both centers waved out of this face-off. Mathias moves in to take it for Vancouver. Wins it to Lyndon Vay. Vay hooked down. And the puck winds up in the glove of Stalock. We'll check in with Murph.
Break in the action. We can say that Safeway's featured participating product for tonight's game is Folgers Coffee.
Coffee was good this morning. It's so cold here. It's colder here than a lot of places in Ontario.
Windy, too. Michael Haley with a pass to Matt Nieto, who blew a tire, and the Canucks break back. Three of them to center. Kevin Bieksa in over the San Jose line. Slows, and then just wrists one high and wide. Ryan Stanton. Pass to Bieksa. And he circles back as we hit the 6-minute mark of the second period. It's been an eventful night in San Jose. Canucks leading 2-1. Here's Marleau with speed. Stops. Still with the puck. Pass back and a one-timer off the blocker of Miller as Karlsson tested him from well out. Henrik Sedin the other way for Vancouver. Daniel onto the ice to join him. Pass comes in front for Edler. And he couldn't take it, went off the heel of his stick. I wondered if the Canucks might get called for too many men there as Daniel jumped on and joined that rush. Sharks bench thought the call should have been made. Verbata to Edler. Wrist shot wide. Henrik Sedin takes a hit from Marleau. And Burns passes back to Vlasic, who's bodied by Verbata. Daniel Sedin gets the puck, throws it in front off the goalie stick, back towards Edler. Daniel in for Verbata. Pass to Daniel Sedin. Round for Henrik. Good zone time here. Henrik to Verbata. Wrist shot, scores! What a shot from Radim Verbata, and the Canucks lead 3-1.
You talked about the zone time. That's the best zone time that the Sedin line's had in 2 games. Henrik Sedin, the long cross-ice pass. Verbata with the wrist shot that beats Alex Stalock. Boy, that's a good, quick shot by Verbata.
As good a shot as it was, I
you
think
could see-
Stalock's going to think he should have had it.
I think so too, but did you see him look at Logan Couture, who was cruising through And I think Logan Couture screened him on the way by.
Canucks back into a 2-goal lead.
Canucks goal is 14.
As Vrbata gets his 14th at 7:09.
Assisted by number 33, Henrik Sedin.
Here comes Bo Horvat. Chip and chase into the San Jose zone. Thornton came back to break that up. And now Pavelski ahead to Hurdle. And he goes after the puck in the Vancouver zone. Weber rides him into the corner. Burrows comes back in support. Gets the puck down and out. Not enough for icing. Spies at his own blue line. Ahead for Chris Higgins, who's in on the right wing. Higgins with a shot, and Stalock able to stop that one and hang on for the whistle. Eventful second period. Canucks have 2, the latest from Vrbata.
Well, their series, Brendan Dillon, who certainly has learned a lot about the business side of the game over the last 6 months or so, was a training camp holdout in Dallas before getting a 1-year deal, and then was dealt shortly after to San Jose. It was supposed to be a trade for a right-hand D and a left-hand D. It was Demers, but he thinks perhaps the holdout might have had something to do with it. Regardless, he's happy here in San Jose, down the West Coast and closer to home.
Surrey minor hockey product. Played a year of junior B in Hope and then 4 years with the Seattle Thunderbirds.
2 years younger than Demers.
Out there with Brent Burns, who throws a pass ahead to Joe Pavelski. Hurdle on the left wing. Rings one around, Bonino waiting for it. Puck got by him. And Hurdle touches it to the blue line. Burns' long shot missed the net. Higgins passes back. Puck dumped out. Hansen tried to chip it ahead to Bonino, but just preceded the puck over the line, and it's an offside call.
Great Canadian Oil Change. Family owned and operated. Superb customer service and new vehicle warranty approved products, including Valvoline Premium Oils. Great Canadian Oil Change, over 60 locations across Canada.
Lyndon Vey is going to take a turn at center here in the absence of Brad Richardson, who was shaken up on the play just prior to the Yannick Hansen goal. So Vey centering Dorsett and Mathias for Vancouver. Derek Dorsett around the net to the crease, and that one hit a skate and went wide. Sharks get the puck ahead. And now here's a chance for Goodrow with a wrist shot, kicked out by Ryan Miller. Centering pass, Carlson. Puck kicked away from him, chopped to the crease by Shepherd and cleared away by the Canucks. Here's Tennyson with a drive, and he wedged that one over top of the goal. Sharks hold the puck in. Goodrow from behind the net. Irwin's had to head to the bench, broke his stick. Replaced by Vlasic, shot from the high slot. Tennyson ripped it wide again. Good pressure here from San Jose. Spiza gets to the loose puck and passes to Vey. He will settle things down by skating to center and wristing the puck in. Didn't get it deep. He hit Vlasic with it. And the Sharks come back. Nieto to Haley. And the Canucks will take this whistle as Yannick Weber is able to deflect the puck out of play.
Just after a goal, you have to make sure that defensively you're sound. The Canucks give it away, and Ryan Miller bails out Lucas Spiza. Spiza coughs it up, tries to block it, misses it, and Miller's still able to find it and make the stop.
15 shots for the Sharks, just 4 here in the second. Canucks have had 12 shots, 5 in the second period. So far, and there's still half a game to go, but Neil Smith looking somewhat prescient from the pregame, talking about the goaltending in this one. Here's Daniel Sedin around for Vrbata. Centering pass off the skate of Henrik Sedin, who continues to fight for the puck behind the net. Vlasic had it blocked by Vrbata, then stole the puck back and got it around to Logan Couture. Bieksa under pressure from Braun, and the puck came right to the side of the net. Vlasic around for Couture, couldn't reach the puck. Daniel Sedin tips it out. Now Henrik has his stick chopped out of his hands. He appeals for a penalty as he heads to the bench. Both teams with fresh legs on the ice. Bonino. Pass at center to Edler, leads the rush. Hansen takes his feed wide and through the crease, but nobody there. Hansen hustles to hold the puck in, bounces one in on Stalock, who leaves the puck for Marc-Edouard Vlasic. Pavelski to Thornton. Ahead for Hurdle. Tanev knocked that one out. Mentioned Richardson. Gone for the Canucks. We haven't seen Tommy Wingels either since the high hit from Hansen that earned the Vancouver player a checking to the head penalty. Irwin dumps the puck over the Vancouver line and Spiza drives it around for Burrows. He chops the puck to center and now picks it up himself. Checked by Nieto. Spiza lost an edge, and here comes Nieto down the right wing. Haley going to the net. The trailer's Desjardins, and Burrows reached out to knock the pass from him. Now thrown across to the other side. Nieto behind the net for Haley. Horvat trying to check him and knocks the puck away. Burns moves down from the right point, and intercepting behind the goal is Yannick Weber. He takes a ride into the boards on a hit from Andrew Desjardins. Dorsett down the right wing. Puts one in front off the goaltender's stick. Horvat was being tied up, and here comes Desjardins. Gets the Vancouver line, tips the puck in, and heads to the bench. Goodrow gets the puck. Back for Vlasic. There's a Vancouver penalty coming up. Yet another power play headed San Jose's way. It's going to be 4-0 in terms of the Sharks and power plays. When we come back, and Yannick Weber took a pretty rough ride.
The Sharks about to go another power play. Daniel Sedin in the box. We're standing by with Brendan Dillon's parents, Ed and Debbie. And Debbie, I'll start with you. He's not as far away now, not in Dallas, he's in San Jose. Is that just fine as a mom?
That's perfect. It's a hop, skip, and a jump now.
Plan to come down a little bit more to watch?
Yes, much more.
And Ed, you know what? You have your son here. He's playing in San Jose, and you got to have Christmas in California. What was that like?
It was great. It was great. The hospitality was great. He was paying for everything, so I can't complain.
Well, welcome to San Jose, and hope to see you down here again.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Here's a chance for Marleau, stopped by Ryan Miller, as the Sharks go to work on their fourth power play.
He was paying for everything. Just like Ed did when Brendan was a kid. Minor hockey, paying for everything. There's Ryan Miller again. He has been so good and in control in this game. No rebounds at all.
Saw Brad Richardson in that sequence. He's back for the Canucks. Tommy Wingels has returned to the San Jose bench as well. Still a minute 46 to go in the Daniel Sedin penalty. Here's Couture with room. Wrist shot. Miller again in position to make the save and hang on.
Brent Burns wanted to take that shot himself, but was negated, had to throw it across, and Ryan Miller with no screen had no problems with that one. You see Brent Burns talking it over.
Puck in, skates off the draw. Pavelski gets stood on the boards. Pass with Thornton. Disrupted. Edler behind the net to Tanev. And he makes no mistake, sliding the puck up the middle and all the way down. Canucks change their defense. Spiza comes out along with Kevin Bieksa. Under 7 minutes to go in the second. Minute 15 left in the San Jose power play. It's 3-1 Vancouver. Burrows to Bieksa. He drives the puck down.
Very nicely done with communication. Hand pass up from Kevin Bieksa to Burrows, right back and down the ice.
Power plays, as you mentioned, 4-0 San Jose. The Sharks did have a penalty, we should note, in the first period. Thornton for slashing. The Canucks never got onto the power plays. Henrik Sedin took a penalty shortly thereafter. Now Bieksa clears the zone again. Fans getting a little frustrated. Tennyson dishes off. Wingels. Blue line feed. Vlasic. His pass off the mark. Edler gets to the loose puck. Fake shooting it around. Now taken down by Wingels. 6 minutes left in the period. Hansen pokes the puck free and skates it out himself. Yannick Hansen moving in on Tennyson. Try to wrist shot it. That's off the San Jose player's stick. Another play.
Yannick Hansen forcing the issue.
There's Radim Vrbata, who scored the 3-1 Vancouver goal. Another winner on Score and Win for Safeway and Folgers Coffee. From Surrey, Danielle Mellon, you won a Lagostina 10-piece cookware set.
Using words like prescient, I'm surprised you haven't made any Tennyson references.
It's better to have loved and lost than never to have, what is it?
I don't know, Ulysses and all that.
Than to never have loved it all?
Yes.
Like 10 seconds to go in the Daniel Sedin liner. As Vlasic skates the puck out. Stanton with his skate, able to angle that one. Vrbata, one last clear. Daniels out of the box. Sharks are 0 for 4 on the power play. Still trailing 3-1. Sedin's trying to make life miserable for Vlasic here, but he's able to pass the puck through. And Carlson risks one to center for Desjardins. Forced back by Weber, who plays the puck into the San Jose end. Weber again, and this time the puck is off his stick and out of play. 5:07 now to go in the second. 3-1 Canucks leading. You're watching Canucks hockey live from San Jose on Sportsnet.
Now, we don't jam a lot of fancy stats down your throat on this show because John Garrett doesn't really understand them. But one of the most basic metrics is Corsi. That tracks shot attempts at 5-on-5. And the best in the game, who has at least played 300 minutes right now, is Matt Nieto. 60%. You see Joe Thornton, 7th in the league. And the top Canuck, way down in 89th, Henrik Sedin. When I told Matt Nieto of this, he said, I don't really understand them all, but any good stat you want to give me, I'll take it.
Yes, talk to my agent.
Ryan Miller hangs on to that long shooting, and that gives linesman Kyle Murchison a chance to shake it off here. He went down rather hard on that last faceoff.
Those Corsi stats, so I mean, teams like San Jose that shoot the puck a lot, Detroit shoot the puck a lot, and then you get into where the shots are from, and it can really, you can take it to the nth degree.
You just choose not to. There's a shot off the draw. Thornton stopped by Miller. Derek Dorsett trying to get the puck out. Can't. Pavelski back to Thornton, and that shot bounces wide. Burrows playing without his stick. Laying broken on the far side of the ice. He's trying to take away some ice in the high slot as the Sharks keep after the puck. And now they try to pass it to Burrows. Horvat didn't realize he didn't have a stick. Miller saved loose puck. Oh! Hurdle at the side. Couldn't jam it home. Pavelski. Centering pass. And Hurdle's shot is off his stick and over the net. Canucks need a whistle.
Okay.
Stanton gets after the puck. He and Burrows collide with Tennyson. Burrows watching Tennyson, still without his stick. Tennyson fakes the one-timer, takes a look, lets it go, blocked. And that fells Dorsett, who struggles to his feet. Sharks pressing here, and they've managed to change a few people on the ice, get some fresh legs out there. Tennyson's wide, shot deflects wide, and now Stanton a chance to clear. Gets the puck to Dorsett, and he'll make sure he gets it as deep as he possibly can. Just over 3.5 to go in the second. Marleau. Shot hit Tanev. Sean Mathias after the puck. Tanev winds up with it. Turns and passes to Richardson, who one touches the puck to Mathias. He plays a cross corner dump, and Braun goes back. Lyndon Vane blocked the clearing attempt, and he plays the puck to the corner for Mathias. Richardson. Check Braun behind the net. Couture with the puck gets it out. 3 minutes left in the second period. Lyndon Vane with a pass for Nick Bonino. Shepard advances the puck. And icing waved off as they say Carlson won the race. Jannik Hansen couldn't negotiate that one. Hansen having quite the night. I won't even fancy stat it for you, John. He's got a goal, 4 shots, 2 hits, and a couple of takeaways.
Part of the penalty killing group.
Spiza goes back for a loose puck. Miller Got his signals crossed there. Hansen back to help out. Higgins can't move the puck out. There's a shot from a sharp angle. Now Dillon with a drive, and Miller picked it up late. If he picked it up at all, it hit him. Loose puck in the slot. Canucks get it out of harm's way, and Hansen brings it to center and slides it in. He takes a hard hit from Dillon, but is right back up on his feet. And Hansen intercepts at center. Pass to the side, Daniel Sedin, Henrik Sedin. Back for Daniel. Behind for Henrik. Blue line feed. Here's Edler with a blast, and he missed on the short side. Under 2 minutes left. Here in the second period. And Edler's back in his own zone for a loose puck. Daniel Sedin launches one ahead for Henrik. Back for Daniel, moves it up the middle. Daniel Sedin drops. Vrbata with room. Cuts in front. He shoots, and he just missed. Vrbata again. Slap shot. That hit Hurdle in front. Braun gets the puck and clears it out.
Daniel promised Dan Murphy he'd be better. He has been a lot better in this game. And that's with no power play time.
Ran into Bieksa there. Vrbata gets the puck, puts it in front, steered away by Stalock. Final minute, second period. Canucks leading by 2. It's been a somewhat lengthy shift for the Sedins. They're going to want to get off the ice. Preferably not on the back check. But that's what happens here. Nieto down the left side. Rings one around. Tennyson held it in on Mathias, but now the puck is out to neutral ice. Here's Stanton. Mathias at center. Tying up the puck in front of the Vancouver bench. Canucks happy to see time tick down here. Richardson was into it a bit with Haley. Now another collision. Wingwell sidesteps a check. As Bieksa stepped up. Desjardins with a shot. Swallowed up by Miller. And then Desjardins went right to the front of the net to try to stir things up, which he continues to attempt to do.
John, you talked about Alex Burrows with no stick, and that's just, you have to holler at, Burrows doesn't holler at Brad or Bo Horvat, who throws it over to him, and then it's a scramble drill. Derek Dorsett angles, toe save, and a beauty. Ouch.
Protect your engine in temperatures as low as 40 below with Mobil 1 Advanced Fuel Economy. Mobil 1. Energy lives here.
Final 6.6 seconds of this second period. Face off to the right of Ryan Miller. Sharks win it. Trying to get a late chance, and Marleau fan on the one-time attempt. That'll do it. Canucks get goals from Jannik Hansen and from Radim Vrbata with a Joe Thornton penalty shot goal sandwiched in between. So Ryan Miller, a story in this one as well. He's faced a couple penalty shots, and he stopped 22 of 23. 40 minutes done, Brad. Canucks 3 and the Sharks 1.
Welcome back to the tank. Canucks with a 2-goal lead entering the third period. Scoring summaries brought to you by Panago Pizza. Before, during, or after the game, get a fresh Panago. 1 goal in the first. Bo Horvat's second of the season. Sharks outshoot the Canucks 11-7. In the second, Hansen got one coming out of the box. Thornton scored on the penalty shot before Vrbata restored the Canucks' 2-goal lead.
Road game number 20 already for the Vancouver Canucks. And trying to get to 6 games above 500. One of the better road records in the National Hockey League.
Neil and Gord were talking about the first 5 minutes of this third period, how the Sharks will really press. It's like the start of the game when you come in here to San Jose. It's the same thing. You just have to play it smart. Stay out of the penalty box.
Canucks had a 1-goal lead going into the third period 2 nights ago in Anaheim. Wound up losing that in overtime. A 2-goal advantage heading into the third here in San Jose. And here's Vlasic with an early foray into the Vancouver zone. Sharp angle shot stop. Rebound forced in front by Couture. Puck finds its way to Daniel Sedin, who passes to Radim Vrbata. He sends one in on Stalock, who directs the puck to the corner. Vlasic gave it away to Henrik Sedin. Puck comes towards Daniel. Quickly back. Tanev. Edler. Wrist shot. And that hit Tommy Wingels in the slot. Wingels takes the lead pass at center. He'll head to the bench after sending the puck in behind the Canuck goal. Edler got that one through to Bieksa. Bonino takes the man to allow the puck to escape the zone. Hansen fighting for it. And Joe Thornton elects to ring it around to the far side. Ryan Stanton there to hold it onside. But not for long as Pavelski tips the puck out. Kevin Bieksa can try to skate it ahead. Now gets the puck to Higgins. Back to Ryan Stanton. Lyndon Vay's onto the ice, and he deflects the puck into the San Jose zone. Now steals it, centers it. Quick shot by Bonino, stopped by Stalock. Vay throws one across, and Lucas Spiza brings the puck down the left side. Round to the other side. Vay is waiting at the right point. In for Bonino. Nick Bonino spinning on Brendan Dillon. Centers. Vay had it bounce off his stick. Couldn't get a shot away, and the Sharks cleared. So far, the first 2 minutes have gone okay.
As planned, playing in the offensive zone. Couple of chances.
Yannick Weber holds the puck in. Covering for him is Sean Mathias. Weber is as deep in the zone as he can get. Sharks come up with the puck, and he'll have to hustle back with Mathias still covering for him. Goodrow moves in after the loose puck, and Spiza steps into him. Richardson across for Vay. And up for Mathias. Missed the pass, and it's an icing call. 2.5 into third. Here's Murph.
John, catch the latest edition of Canucks TV tomorrow 6 o'clock on Sportsnet Pacific. All access with Jim Benning and Trevor Linden. More team-building adventures, and we look back at the best moments of the season so far.
Lucas Spiza has some big hits here. He's got Goodrow. This is his third hit of the game. Good, solid, good body position.
Here's Wingels throwing one across the top of the crease. Now Marleau with a shot through traffic. Ryan Miller able to make the save. Mathias tips the puck out. Canucks can make their change now. As Horvat comes out along with Burrows and Dorsey. Burrows breaks up that attempted entry by Couture. Now the puck shot in. Tanev slides it forward to Dorsey. Bank pass to Burrows. Touch to the middle. Here's Edler with a shot, and a glove save by Stalock.
This is a good rush, but no traffic in front as Alex Edler jumps up into the play. He's at almost 17 minutes after 2 periods. You can bet he'll pile up some big minutes here in the third, but no screen in front. Easy save for Stalock.
Face-off win for Bo Horvat. Stanton fakes the shot. Steps wide on Nieto. Now lets it go. And another save for Stalock, who hangs on.
Willie Desjardins gets fresh troops on the ice. Defensive zone face-off. Henrik Sedin out.
He'll take the draw against Couture. A little over 3 minutes into the third. Still 3-1 Vancouver, and the Canucks control this face-off as well. Rabada tried to send one across for Daniel Sedin. Puck comes to Henrik. Leaves for Daniel. Checked by Vlasic, and taps the puck to neutral ice. Lead pass for Daniel Sedin. Stanton tried to send him in. Daniel keeps after the puck. Now Henrik's onto it. Henrik Sedin for Daniel Sedin, but the puck's by him. Bieksa moves down from the right point. Braun intercepts in the corner. Gets the puck forward, not past Bieksa. Apparently it came outside the line, though. Whistle blows, and here's Murph.
Guys, it's been a fun World Junior for Canucks fans to watch. A few high-profile prospects for Tannen, of course, the first-round pick from this year. He's got 2 points, +2 rating in 3 games. Thatcher Demko's been lights out in goal for the States. 1 shutout in 2 games played. And Gustav Forsling was the player of the game yesterday versus Russia after a goal and assist. He's got 2 and 2 in the tournament so far.
Well chronicled, the
Yes.
Bo Horvat. Could have gone, but Canucks elected to keep him. And he's on the ice right now with Dorsett and Burrows again.
Ottawa, because they're kind of out of it, were able to send Curtis Lazar. He became the captain of Team Canada.
Chris Tanev ahead to Horvat. And he carries it on the left wing, trying to drag the puck in front. Tomas Hertl having none of that. And Joe Thornton collects in his own zone. Puck taken away by Jannik Hansen. Tried to go against the grain to Higgins. It's broken up. Burns around for Dillon. Brendan Dillon ahead to Barclay Goodrow, who passes back into his own zone. Here's Burns up the middle. Knocked away by Bonino. Loose puck inside the Vancouver blue line. Spiza couldn't move it out. Shepherd with some good work for the Sharks. Now Bonino passes ahead. And Hansen is checked by Goodrow. Past the 5-minute mark of the third. So far, Canucks doing a pretty good job of not allowing the Sharks to get much going. Irwin rips the puck in from center. Now it's centered and shot wide by Shepherd. Carlson in around for Hertl. Tomas Hertl turns with a shot, hit the side of the net. Bonino, end of a fairly long shift, can't get the puck out, but Spiza has a chance and passes ahead to Lyndon Vey. Vey down the right side with a shot attempt. That's off Irwin and wide of the goal. Joe Thornton, pressured from behind, able to beat the heat, now dump the puck in. Pavelski working on Bieksa. Pass back. Got through to Braun. Mathias had a chance to intercept. Now Mathias working for the puck along the boards. Played to the corner. Stanton steps in front of his man. Heads up pass to Richardson. And Vey skates out. He'll head to the bench after dumping the puck in. And the Sedins come back out for Vancouver. Martin-Edward Vlasic played that one from his own side of center, and it's an icing call against the Sharks.
Ryan Miller is playing so well, and you watch him play, and he's such a smart goaltender, reads the play so well. Here's a shoot in, and he just lets it go. Why? Well, there's the gate in that corner. Joe Thornton shot it in, and where the visiting team comes on in the corner, there's an edge, and you get a bounce off there about 50, well, not 50% of the time, but about 30% of the time, you get a bad bounce, and Miller, smart enough, just stay in the net.
Marleau chips the puck in. Wingles gets it back to Braun. Wrist shot. I think that hit a leg in front and then hit Miller in the crest. Henrik Sedin flips one to Alex Edmund. Pass for Urbana, who taps the puck back for Henrik, who's bumped by Wingles after playing the puck in around. 7 minutes into the third. No icing on this one. Miller defying John Garrett's.
Yeah, that wasn't a hard shoot. That was just a little toss in.
Here's Michael Haley. You know I like to have fun.
Yes, I know. And in the Kerrisdale rink, I'm sure you stayed in the crease all the time.
I couldn't skate.
That's probably why you stayed in the crease all the time.
Bo Horvat after a loose puck, shot in by Burns. Didn't get it all the way in, but now it slides to the corner. Weber there. And the puck deflects out of play. Sharks saying there should be a penalty. Canucks saying it tipped off a stick. The officials will huddle and we'll take a break.
From December through February, a lucky fan will win a pair of Canucks tickets by simply ordering takeout or delivery pizza from Pizza Hut. Go to pizzahut.ca or call 310-1010 and you're automatically entered each time you order. It's that simple. Pizza Hut, the official pizza of the Vancouver Canucks.
little over 12 minutes to go, third period. John Shorthouse, John Garrett, Dan Murphy, our entire Sportsnet crew. The final game of 2014 for the Vancouver Canucks. And leading it by 2. That puck deflected off Brendan Dillon. So no icing. Burns plays it ahead and out. And slide right down on Ryan Miller. Stanson, giveaway. Centering pass. Pavelski missed it. And Higgins slides the puck forward to Jannik Hansen. Down the left wing, trying to go wide on Burns. Put the puck in front. Dillon there to intercept. And he banks it forward for Pavelski. Ahead to Nieto. On to the right wing, Joe Thornton. Working on Stanton. Puts the puck towards the front. Bieksa clears it away and out to center. Joe Thornton with a blind pass. Braun feeds the puck to Dillon. Henrik Sedin pressuring him. Forces Dillon to the corner. Now Braun returns the puck to Brendan Dillon, who gets it around. Goodrow kicked it back. It's out to center. Picked up by Chris Tanev. Alex Edler up the middle. Henrik Sedin got some warning from the bench that James Shepherd was stepping up. Sharks pick up the puck. Here's Goodrow to the blue line. Vlasic with a long shot. Deflected and stopped by Ryan Miller. And then Edler buried Carlson in front. Canucks the other way. Daniel Sedin from Verbata. His pass for Henrik went off his skate. And the Sharks reclaim possession of the puck. Carlson with a tip pass to Vlasic. Both teams changing as Vlasic rips the puck in from center. Yes, John?
See, stay in the net. You're ahead by 2 goals halfway through the third period. Be careful.
Brad Richardson up the boards. Dorsett tips the puck forward. Burrows helps it along, and it's onto the stick of Matt Irwin. To the other Matt, Tennyson. Halfway through the third. Bieksa. Checked by Wingles. Couture to Marleau. Fanned as he tried to get a shot away. Spiza brings the puck up. And Wingles steps into him. I don't know. Johnny does throw a lot of hits.
Yes, he does.
Wingles in on the right wing. Thornton and Marleau are with him. Tries a shot. They went off a leg and wide. Hansen turns. Gets the puck ahead. Here comes Nick Bonino. Off the bench is Higgins to join him. Bieksa's the trailer. There's the pass. Bieksa shoots, and he missed the net. Stanton hustles over to hold the puck in the zone. Bonino from behind the goal. Dillon able to come up with the puck, get it ahead. Canucks take it back in center, and Bieksa bounces it in. Stalock with a quick up to Thornton. Long shooting. Miller handles that easily. And he'll cover up with Pavelski steaming in towards the goal. 9:05 to go in the third. Canucks with a chance to take 3 out of 4 points on the road. Face off in the Vancouver zone with just over 9 minutes to go in the third. Canucks returning home after this game. Take on the LA Kings 2 nights from now. Sharks are back at it tomorrow in Anaheim. Pavelski won the draw, but Daniel Sedin got onto the puck. Passes to Verbata, who plays it in behind the San Jose goal. Thornton reverses for Dillon, who's checked by Henrik Sedin, centering the puck, knocked away by Pavelski. Verbata forces a turnover, and now the Sharks get the puck out. Played back in by Edler, and Vancouver will start a full change. Miller blockers that one away. Dillon centers. There to intercept is Burrows. Puck got in front of him and almost held in by Couture. Here comes Dorsett. 2-on-1 with Richardson. Derek Dorsett in, fakes the centering pass, and then his shot was stopped by Stalock. Dorsett again. Hooks it through the crease and wide of the goal. Bieksa puts one towards the net. That hit Burns at the side of the goal. Burrows gets the loose puck. Alex Burrows check. Couture rings it around for Marleau. Puts it into the middle. Burrows intercepts. His pass comes outside the line, and the puck is ripped back in by Stanton. Both teams changing on the fly. Under 8 minutes to go. And Tennyson picks up the puck on the right wing. Runs into Edler. Higgins gets the puck up to Edler, and he relays to Jannik Hansen. Hansen bounces one in on Stalock, takes it on the short hop. And the whistle blows, allowing us to tell you about Sportsnet Pick and Play, powered by Kia. It's never too late in the season to join. Just select key players from Saturday's matchups, and you could win one of 2 2015 Kia Forte 5s. Enter now at sportsnet.ca.
Last shift with Derek Dorsett, Alex Burrows. Brad Richardson goes 2-on-1, and you were right, Dorsett wanted to pass it, and then at the last minute changes his mind, and Stalock there to make the save.
7.5 minutes to go.
Shots here in the third are 7-5, and that's a good thing for the Canucks.
Weber came over to break up that pass. Now the Sharks move in. Goodrow has his pass deflected to the corner. Carlson along the end boards to Shepard. Blue line feed. Bassick with a shot. And that broke the stick of Nick Bonino, who heads to the bench. Here's a steal by Higgins. He turns inside the line. Backhands the puck behind the goal. Here's some nifty stick handling from Barclay Goodrow. Carlson puts the puck across, knocked away by Tanner. And Verbata, maybe a little too oomph on that one. It'll cost the Canucks an icing call with 6:40 remaining.
They had just made their line change, so I don't think Willie Desjardins will call his timeout. Sedin line on the ice.
Thornton comes out for the draw against Henrik Sedin. And Henrik wins it. Edler round for Tanev. Puck got by him, but he'll catch up to it. Send it forward to Daniel Sedin. Brings it in over the Sharks line. Irwin winds up with the puck. Now it deflects right in front, and Nieto there to play to the side. Edler from center. Pass blocked. Sharks control. Brent Burns ahead to Pavelski. Drops for Nieto. Back to Irwin. Nieto towards the front. Miller knocked that away. Henrik Sedin. 6 minutes to go. Pass to Alex Edler. In with Alex Burrows. Pass blocked. Sharks will try to break that. Pavelski hooked one across. That went off a Canuck into the Sharks zone. Burrows is offside here. And he and Richardson will tag up to allow play to continue. Logan Couture to Tomas Hertl. Couture after the puck. Behind the net for Marleau. Richardson takes it away. Round for Burrows. Vlasic moves down and holds the puck in the zone. Sharks will have to take some chances now. Canucks will try to counter. Maybe get an odd man rush like the one Dorsett and Richardson had a few moments ago. Here's Logan Couture ahead to Patrick Marleau. And Higgins winds up with the puck. Now Higgins takes a lead pass, steps around Wingles, but Wingles takes the puck away. Canucks close to too many men on the ice. Here's Wingles trying to force one in front. Puck clear to the side, waiting is Irwin. Edler intercepts behind the net. Gets the puck to the line, not out, held in by Tennyson, long shot, that changed direction. Miller was moving the wrong way as the puck went wide to his left. Now Hansen gets to a loose puck and he brings it up. Tips it forward and chases after it himself. Creative play by Hansen. Tennyson tries to ride him off the puck. Hansen keeps after it. Round for Daniel Sedin, Spies is open, there's the pass, and he ripped it off the goaltender and wide of the goal. Bieksa plays it back in from center. 4:20 to go in the third. Joe Thornton. Matt Irwin. Blocked by Henrik Sedin. Here comes Verbata with Daniel Sedin. Verbata down the right side with a slap shot. Stalock the save. 4 minutes to go. We'll see how aggressive Todd McCullen is in his pulling of the goaltender, trailing by 2. Thornton to the blue line. Pavelski with a shot. He missed the net. Here's Brendan Dillon throwing it in behind. Stanton tried to tip it along, missed the puck. But Thornton's pass is intercepted by Verbata, who gets to center, plays the puck in, and starts another full change.
I was wondering if Todd McClellan was going to put Patrick Marleau out with Pavelski and Thornton.
Marlowe's up there now and moving the puck over the Vancouver line. Throws a check on Chris Tanev. Puck came towards the front. Miller able to knock it away. Tanev checked. Couture to Wingles. Tried to relay to Marleau. Edler read that one. And he gets the puck ahead and out. Burrows forces it into the zone. Chases after the puck, but Braun gets there first. He hooks one ahead to Wingles. Tommy Wingles has Vlasic in front. Pass off his skate. Now backhands it in front. Winds up on the stick of Bonino. Gets it ahead and out. 3 minutes to go. Canucks leading 3-1, and the Sharks are offside, as Marleau was slow to leave the zone with Couture trying to move in. Out of power play in this hockey game, but when they do go to the power play, it's brought to you by Subway. Gear up for winter with the prime rib melt combo. Thick, savory cuts of juicy Canadian beef. Subway. Eat fresh. Canucks just 5 seconds of power play time in Anaheim the other night.
Last 2 games.
2:40 to go in this one. And Stalock looking to the bench. As Pavelski moves in, there goes Stalock. And the Sharks hold the goaltender with 2.5 minutes remaining. Chris Higgins couldn't glove that one down, but the puck is out to center. Pavelski runs into Bonino. Bonino flips one out wide. And it'll be an icing call with 2:16 to go. Murph.
Well, John, shop at Safeway today. Watch future Sportsnet telecasts, and you could win an all-inclusive trip for 2 to a Grand Bahia Principe Resort, courtesy of redtag.ca, where Canada shops for great travel deals.
Timeout call?
I think Todd McClellan's calling the timeout. Well, Vancouver's calling it.
Icing. So
well, that line just got out there.
It couldn't be the Canucks calling timeout. Oh, pardon me. What am I saying? They can't make a change. They can call timeout.
They can call timeout if they want.
It's been a really, really long, short road trip.
Yes.
I'll shut up and tell you about our next telecast, which comes up 2 nights from now. The Canucks hosting the Los Angeles Kings New Year's Day. Hope you can join us. Coverage starts at 6:30 from Rogers Arena. And between now and then, I'm going to pore over my rule book and make sure I understand exactly how this game of hockey works.
Kings finishing their Western trip. They were in Calgary, and I don't know how they were down 2-1 in Edmonton late in the game. I don't know how that ended.
I can tell you.
You can tell me?
3-2 Oilers in a shootout.
3-2 Oilers in a shootout.
All the news, happenings coming up with Carly Agro right after this. As the Sharks, Couture tried a shot, net still empty for San Jose. Thornton tied up, puck cleared off the glass, held in by Tennyson. 2 minutes left. Thornton tried to sweep one back, couldn't do it. Now he fights to hold the puck in, but Edler is able to flip it out. Logan Couture faked the shoot in, and that put everybody off. Whistle blows on the offside.
You can see the Sharks all trying to hang the line. Pavelski on one side and Burns on the other. Pulled groins all along the blue line as Logan Couture faked that shoot in.
Minute 46 to go. Sharks in danger of losing their 3rd straight after a run of winning 9 of 10.
Play 4 of their next 5 on the road, and then they're home for 9 of 10.
Marleau wins the draw. Burns couldn't negotiate that pass. Pavelski shoots the puck in. Stanton gets it out. Here's Henrik Sedin. And Verbata helps the puck along over the San Jose blue line. Marleau couldn't move in. And the Sharks regroup at center with under 90 seconds to go. Miller's out of his net. Henrik Sedin gets the puck out. Did that tick off a Shark? Apparently not. So another icing whistle with 1:15 to go.
Henrik Sedin gets another chance for a face-off. He's been better here in the third period. He was struggling in the first two, but done a better job here in the third.
Now the Sharks take their timeout. We saw the Sharks, albeit only trailing by one, almost tie the game in November when the Canucks were here. Look at that third period save percentage.
Well, he's been very good. His bad games, where he's really, it's been the first period. He's let in at least 2 in the first period in all the games that he's been bad.
Here's what I was talking about in November. The Sharks pressing to tie it up, and Thornton thought he had, but watch the clock. That close.
No goal.
And you can see the Sharks didn't complain too much about it at the time.
Canucks hanging on to win that one 3-2.
Ryan Miller had to be better in that game. He's been very good in this one, but the shots are 8-7 here in the third. The Canucks have done a nice job bombing it down, no penalties, playing the offensive zone.
Look at Miller the last 3 games. I mean, they beat Arizona 7-1, but he faced 39 shots in that one. And then gave up a couple on 31 in Anaheim. He's faced 31 in this one. Sharks have beaten him once on a penalty shot. Now another save on a redirect by Couture. What a stop. And here's a chance for Henrik Sedin. Can't catch up to get a shot. Remember, he's sitting on 199 career goals.
1 minute left to play in the period.
Thought he might have a chance there. Now he's after the puck along the left wing boards. In front for Daniel, broken up. Couture. Ahead to Pavelski. 45 seconds left. Miller into the corner for Edler, who's tied up by Marleau. Against the puck to Henrik Sedin. Around for Daniel. Into the middle for Verbata. And he tried to backline one towards the goal, but the rolling puck went over his stick. Vlasic shoots it back in. And the puck winds up at center. Shot back in, icing. And Stalock's going to have to come back onto the ice with 19 seconds left, and the Canucks about to register win 21.
Talked about how calm and in position Ryan Miller's been in this one. This chipped in front, off his shoulder, just because he's in position. Logan Couture on his forehand, follows it, and you can see the reaction. He lifts that left shoulder up so that he makes the save.
That was a combo, wasn't it? Position and reaction.
That's right. Read and react.
Weber holds the puck in. And now it's off Couture into the Vancouver zone, and the Canucks on a 2-game trip to California take 3 of 4 points. Gave up the lead in Anaheim, lost in overtime. But another stellar performance by Ryan Miller here in San Jose, and the Canucks win 3-1.
And a much better game for the Canucks. They promised they'd be better after their game in Anaheim when they know that their goaltender got them a point. And Jannik Hansen, lots of jump contributions from everybody on the team. The big line got it going again, and this is without any power play time at all.
Bo Horvat opened the scoring. Bank John, his 2nd career goal. Canucks triumphant in San Jose, and John, your 3 stars.
I thought Jannik Hansen did a great job in this one. He 1 goal, 4 shots, a couple of hits. Joe Thornton was the best of the San Jose Sharks, scored on the penalty shot, and Ryan Miller, the big story, had to make the saves, especially that penalty shot on Joe Pavelski early in the game, kind of set the tone. And Ryan Miller, first star in this one.
Faced 2 penalty shots and stopped half of them. Canucks, overtime losers in Anaheim, win it here in San Jose. 3 out of 4 points in California. On behalf of John Garrett, Dan Murphy, producer Greg Shen, and director Greg Breckel, our entire Sportsnet crew, have a happy New Year, everyone. Here's Carly Agro.